Marvin Devine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Hello folks, welcome back. Thank you for your patience and waiting. I do appreciate it. About 20 minutes, 19 minutes after the scheduled start time. Had adjusted 15 minutes based on a breaking story I was covering. I think a long-time audience understands that I'm not late as a matter of practice. It's only when something comes up, and that was the case this morning. Thank you for your patience and waiting around to join the program this morning. Let me just do a sound check and waiting around to join. Okay, great. All right, looks like this video is ready to go then. Let's see if we got this thing good to go. Okay, so, all right, so publish this. While I was taking care of something else, I let this thing run in the background. Make it public right now. Okay, there we go. Hello, Karen, what's going on? All right, so trying to read the chat over here and see what's going on in the chat very quickly. What did I miss while you were all patiently waiting for me? Okay. A hard time reading that. It's just slightly out of focus. That's better. Okay, put the reading glasses on. It makes a big difference. Hendo says 240 people flied yesterday. I have no independent confirmation of that, but I did get lots of anecdotal evidence that the number was over 200, but I have not got independent confirmation. What else we got here? Hans Bai, something going on. Arc Precision's back. Good to see you again. Modsel, hello. Colonel, not much white left South except the beaches has been rendered. Nah, there's lots of white South Africans left in South Africa. 4.6 million. If you just a few thousand have left, it's hardly the end of white South Africa. White South Africans, I should say. Hilton Stanley says, enjoyed listening to you. Well, thank you. Are you new? Don't recognize the username, but people are changing usernames constantly, so you never know. Just bring that up. So I need to put that in the mods group so they can go around and share that video that I just did. I have to make a thumbnail for it. I haven't had time. I'll do that afterwards if there's time, but I've got a meeting after this. So let me go to mods. Okay. See, the weather hooligan nearly died from a bee sting. Excuse me. What is this WhatsApp? It's just been such a pain of late. I don't know if it's too much data in the database or what's going on, but it's just too much. Fighting back. Well, if you commit crimes, it'll jeopardize your case. We'll take criminals, so you need to be careful. Right, let's get to the news, ladies and gentlemen. The medal count is up. The United States is on the verge of catching up with the Italians. At least let me see if that's still current. As of a short while ago, despite Italy winning a medal today, the U.S. is just a medal behind them now. Of course, I don't really do the game about, well, you have to have golds. That's what counts the most. They do count the most. But I look at overall medal totals when I look at the Olympics. Always have. Norway with 33 medals now, just running away from the field. 15 golds. Another gold today from King Klar. King Klæbo got another gold medal today. His fifth, I think, of this Olympics, setting a record. I think that's 10 gold medals now in the Winter Olympics for him. Italy is now second with 9 golds, 25 medals overall. The USA third with 24 medals, 7 gold. As they picked up another gold as Michaela Schifrin won in her best race, and she came through, winning her second Olympic medal there. Took many years for her to get back on the podium, but she's there again in the slalom. Well done. So that's where things stand at this hour. But here's our lead story. Black households now, 41% are high income bracket. Wow. We keep hearing about how impoverished black South Africans are, and many are. Millions more than under the National Party. But hey, look here. 41% now are no longer in abject poverty. No refugee questions during the news. That's very disrespectful and rude. Hold your refugee questions till after the news. This is not a refugee program. I don't know how many times we say that. I guess with Mad Max traveling today, he didn't put that in the notes. Mods do that. Please hold your refugee questions. It's very considerate when I'm trying to concentrate on the news and do analysis to ask me questions about refugees. All right? Please hold those questions. That's already 3 questions about refugees that have occurred here. My moderators will delete your questions if you don't have the courtesy and respect to wait until afterwards. We do a show every Sunday. Every Sunday. And instead of having a courtesy to show up and ask questions then, people pop in on the news. You're going to start being just blocked as trolls because you can't follow the simple rules. It's very easy. No need to apologize, whoever that was. The 3 people that just asked refugee questions don't need to apologize. Just follow the rules. If you're unaware of the rules, use some common sense. Am I talking about refugees right now? No. I'm talking about the news. Let's stick with the news, okay? 41% of black households now are out of poverty. Rising remuneration among black South Africans dramatically changed the racial makeup of the country's band of middle and top income earners. 41% of white households make more than $75,000, and 41% of black households make more than $75,000 per month. And the story is the black households are up from 29%. That's a nice improvement, but it's been done at the expense of white households, who are down by nearly 50%. From 61% of white households to just 41% of white households now making $75,000. That means that 20% dropped. That 20%, 1/5, or 50% of those in the group dropped from making $75,000 to less than that. And the RAND $75,000 today compared to 2012 is significantly less value than it was in 2012. So you've pushed many, many whites into poverty with your racist laws. And that is the story here. And that's the video that I just published a few minutes ago. Foot and mouth disease, 1 million vaccinations. As South African farmers battle one of the worst foot and mouth outbreaks in years, the financial and emotional strain is deepening across the livestock sector. It's having this huge ripple effect right up and down the value chain, says Theo Boshoff, Chief Executive Officer of the Agricultural Business Chamber of South Africa. Livestock farmers, dairy farmers, small stock farmers, sheep and goats, feedlots, auction houses, abattoirs, and agribusiness suppliers are all feeling the strain. You can imagine a huge toll it takes on those who are affected, says Boshoff, a member of the FMD Industry Coordination Council. It's the latest update. The council acknowledged that the situation on the ground continues to escalate. No wonder. Look who's in charge. John Steenhuisen. Does that come as a surprise to anybody? No, it doesn't. It shouldn't. How the tide turned against the leader of South Africa's second biggest party. The BBC writes a scathing analysis of John Steenhuisen by Kanyisile Nkobo from Johannesburg. Scathing analysis, but one full riddled with all kinds of bullshit. Of course, the BBC doesn't bother to check their journalist from South Africa. Kanyisile Nkobo is not a British journalist, but a South African-based journalist who's writing this story, much of which is pretty accurate, but it's full of holes and bullshit, like calling the DA a center-right party. What a comical story that is. It is a center-left party. But it details his financial woes and all the other problems that John Steenhuisen's had, and it gives 2 competing views, so some effort at objectivity at showing 2 different views about whether Steenhuisen should or should not be the leader of the DA. The DA is not blaming Russia for their woes. That's News 24 doing that. News 24 did that yesterday. It's not the DA. The DA couldn't figure out if Russia was behind it. They're not that advanced. They're not that advanced. Steenhuisen is in real trouble. Well, opposition is speaking in Parliament the past few days, and tomorrow President Ramaphosa gets a chance to respond to their questions and their comments. We'll see what he has to say, if he's tone deaf and arrogant as he usually is. But J. Louis Malema says as long as there's an EFF, Pala Pala will remain on the plate, as it should. There should be criminal investigation into what happened at Pala Pala, but there hasn't been. Parties belonging to the government of national unity echo the positivity of President Ramaphosa expressed about the economy and state of the nation. Of course, they spewed the bullshit that Ramaphosa shared with the world. On Tuesday, GNU partners DA and Freedom Front Plus called for BE to be scraped, and ANC expressed annoyance with the DA's penchant for claiming what they like to call easy victories, a la Amilcar Cabral. Why is Amilcar Cabral? What is the fascination with these black journalists? Well, this is not even black journalists, but what is this fascination with these socialists with Amilcar Cabral, who was a nobody, didn't accomplish anything, virtually destroyed his country? Opposition parties question whether growth was meaningful if it didn't translate and improve the lives of South Africans, especially the unemployed. Several opposition parties also kept the specter of Pala Pala alive, as they should. DA Chief Whip George Michaelis echoed the sentiment. DA MPs Ian Cameron and Mzambo Billy also advocated for the devolution of policing powers, another policy position the ANC has historically opposed. We've reached a point where the country is grinding to a halt and stagnating. Much of it can be traced back to ideologically driven policy decisions to which you and the ANC continue to cling. Policies such as cater deployment, black economic empowerment, and affirmative action simply do not work, says Corne Mulder. And he's right. ANC MP Kusila Diko said the ANC would not retreat on BE. Hey, why retreat? If racism works for you, keep up with it, ANC. If it works for you, why would you stop? Yeah. PA leader in sports and arts culture minister Gate McKenzie said the GNU was not working because of a particular party, but because the parties were working together. But it's not working. GDP is abysmal. Inflation has declined from 3.6% to 3.5%, and unemployment is still over 40%. You can't believe the numbers the government's giving you. Yeah. So what are you going to do here? What are you going to do here? Des Van Rooyen, the pretend soldier, and his corruption-accused party leader looked on from the public gallery, central figures in state capture. EFF leader Julius Malema said he warned Ron Poe 8 years ago that the Oppenheimers and Ruperts would undermine him. What is his obsession with the Oppenheimers and Ruperts, who sold off much of their fortune and the money they made? Rupert made most of his money around the world, not in South Africa. What a bunch of dumbasses the EFF are. The man's making money around the world, not in South Africa, but they just want to keep going on with that. Richemont is where his fortune is tied up. People making money in South Africa that are rich are the Motsepes of the world. There's a new legal challenge to the national health insurance scam. Yet another legal case has been launched against NHI scheme, directly challenging the constitutionality because it's unconstitutional. The court action has been initiated by AfriForum, joined several other legal challenges currently underway. Its case, a summons served on President Ramaphosa and Health Minister Motsoaledi, among others, differs in that it launches a comprehensive attack on the Act. It's based on the premise that the Act is inconsistent with the Constitution. Well, so is EWC. When are we going to have that struck down? Expropriation without compensation cannot deliver nil compensation. Nil is zero. Nix 9 yet, 9 in the bondhold. That's not compensation. It's impossible. How can that even be on the table? How can that even be on the table? It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. As I said, AfriForum is challenging the constitutionality of this act in court. Long overdue. The act, which was signed into law back in 2024, established a single state-run fund to provide universal, free, and quality health care for all South Africans and residents. But it won't do that. It will just enrich the cadres. State-run health is a disaster. Well, Chinese technology giant Haier, the world's largest appliance maker, has entered South Africa's market. Ooh, yeah. It's the top global ranking for 17 consecutive years. Haier, South Africa's general manager Zhang Lang Son, said the company aims to combine globally proven technology with locally tailored products and services for local customers. Founded in 1984, they established 6 major industrial segments: smart home, comprehensive healthcare, digital economy, robotics, new energy, and automotive. Haier Smart Home is listed among the global Fortune 500 and the Fortune world's most admired companies, having achieved global revenues of $56 billion in 2024 with a profit of $4.2 billion. So now they're going to be in South Africa. Smart inverter refrigerators, high-efficiency washing machines, smart air conditioners, and AI premium viewing television sets and other small appliances. Not one single Haier device in my home, and there will not be any. Water shortage shuts down another court in Pietermaritzburg. Temporary closure of the High Court because it can't flush the toilets. The KZN High Court in Pietermaritzburg was temporarily closed on Wednesday due to ongoing water shortage that has disrupted operations since the 10th of February. Wow, for over a week now. And they're supposed to start tomorrow. We'll see. Don't hold your breath in that. Don't hold your breath in that. Another industry in South Africa under severe pressure, the garment industry once again under pressure, initially under pressure with the expiration of the multi-fiber agreement back in 2005 timeframe, over 2 decades ago. Energy costs, crime, poor infrastructure, and unstable electricity and water supply are the main challenges for textile and clothing companies, which threaten 34,000 new jobs. Research is mapping retailer demand with a nationwide survey of 200 garment manufacturers. And the garment industry is under pressure yet again in South Africa. Buffeted by the multi-fiber agreement expiration, buffeted by Chinese disinvestment in South Africa, now being buffeted by Chinese imports. It's just one attack after another. South Africa's film industry is on its knees due to unpaid incentives, according to Parliament. The Trade Department is sitting on $1.2 billion of unprocessed claims. Why is the government subsidizing the film industry? The Department of Trade, Industry and Competition has pledged to deal with the complaints from the film and television industry regarding the lack of money for the department's film and television incentive. the failure to pay claims for the incentive, maladministration, the scheme, and a lack of consultation. No claims have been paid for 2 years, taking the value of outstanding applications 1.2 billion rand, undermining industry, discouraged foreign direct investment, and led to job losses. But why in the world do you have to have the government subsidize the film industry? The sudden departure of John Steenhuisen from the leadership of the DA presents real danger and perhaps an opportunity beyond the narrow confines of his own party. For investors, it could mean instability and uncertainty for the GNU that would be tragic. Despite many problems, the GNU is beginning to gel. Steenhuisen, the man, deserves credit for steering the DA into the GNU. No. Once again, sorry, it wasn't Steenhuisen. It was Helen Zille and Tony Leon. Why is this lie being perpetuated that Steenhuisen led the party into the GNU? He did virtually nothing. He went along for the ride. And for being a dove when many of his colleagues wanted to break the coalition is a loss to the temperate wing of the DA and the coalition. There is no temperate wing. They're just DA wannabes, ANC wannabes. His departure puts the GNU at risk. Second, a new DA leader who doesn't immediately ascend to the cabinet, as frontrunner Jordan Hill-Lewis has claimed he won't, will hobble the DA and the coalition. Third, as an aside, Steenhuisen is no shoe-in for the agricultural ministry job. Others want that role. Let me elaborate. Steenhuisen expressed a desire to stay in the cabinet and finish fighting foot and mouth. When did he start fighting it? That's not his decision. It's not automatically chosen. The DA leadership chooses candidates for the cabinet positions it occupies and presents them to Ramaphosa. They are nominally vetted but almost always guaranteed appointment unless there's a real security issue hanging over them. In 2025, Ramaphosa was pissed at Steenhuisen after his red line threats with the removal of Andrew Whitfield. So I'm not convinced Ramaphosa is keen to keep Steenhuisen. So here's the problem, Justice Malala. Having a leader of the party be a cabinet minister is foolhardy. The Freedom Front Plus realized this, and Groenewald stepped down. Steenhuisen did not step down. You cannot answer to both sides of the party. You can't answer the party and the presidency. It's stupidity. And I'm sorry that Justice Malala, a rather smart guy, comes to this conclusion, but it is not the answer going forward. It is not the answer going forward. Well, the legal application against Gate McKenzie over the art censorship nonsense has been dismissed. The court application seeking to declare sports, arts, and culture minister Gate McKenzie's alleged interference in the decision to exhibit the South African artist's pro-Gaza work in Venice has been dismissed. In a short judgment handed down electronically in the Gauteng High Court in Pretoria on Wednesday, Judge Moloko Kubishi dismissed the application by the artist, Gabrielle Goliath, and awarded costs to the respondents, which included the minister. Well, it was foolish to bring a court case over a non-existent breach. This is just trying to litigate your personal disputes. More likely, it's a better move to take the minister to court over renaming Graf Reinet into some nonsensical nonsense, naming it after Robert Sobukwe. That's highly inappropriate for Robert Sobukwe and for the history of South Africa. And it's racist. It's cultural genocide. And Gate McKenzie is behind cultural genocide in South Africa. He jumped right into the bath with the ANC's racial revenge crowd. Glencore deepens its Democratic Republic of Congo ties to expand their big copper mine. There's a big hole in the ground. Commodity giant Glencore said it unlocked an array of long-term mining titles and leases from the DRC state-owned Geka mines after reaching a land access agreement for its Kamoto Copper Company. J.D. Vance says Iran is ignoring U.S. red lines in talks and the military option is still on the table over Iran. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance said yesterday that following mediated talks between Washington, Tehran, and Geneva, that Iran was ignoring Washington's red lines, primarily those related to its nuclear program, which has been a bone of contention in U.S.-Iranian relations for years. In some ways, it went well. They agreed to meet afterwards. But in other ways, it's very clear that the president has some red lines that the Iranians are not yet willing to acknowledge and work through. So the Iranians are trying to bluff their way through this. Hardly a surprise, ladies and gentlemen. Did anyone think Iran was going to play nice? I never did. Iran, trying to show its muscle, has closed the Strait of Hormuz for live fire drills. Well, there you go. The U.S. has two carrier groups in the region, and this is what they're doing. Tehran sent alarming signals across the Middle East yesterday by partially closing the Strait of Hormuz for hours ahead of high-stakes nuclear negotiations with Iranian and U.S. officials. Iran announced the closure of parts of the Strait, the Persian Gulf, and the Gulf of Oman as the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps conducted live fire drills in the area. They are some of the most essential international shipping lanes. 20% of the world's oil passes through them. U.S. Central Command, responsible for American personnel region, did not immediately comment on the closure. CENTCOM previously said Iran had the right to act legally in international waters, but cautioned against targeting U.S. warships. So, blustering Iranians. And so you think they want to negotiate in good faith? No, they're not negotiating in good faith. United States plans to deploy more missile launchers to the Philippines because of the Chinese. United States plans to deploy more high-tech missile systems to the Philippines in order to deter aggression in the South China Sea, where the treaty allies on Tuesday condemned what they call China's illegal, coercive, aggressive, and deceptive activities. Agreed 100%. U.S. and Philippine officials held annual talks Monday in Manila on broadening security, political, economic engagements, and boosting collaboration with regional security allies. Longtime allies underscored their support for preserving freedom of navigation, overflight, unimpeded lawful commerce, and other lawful use of the sea for all nations. Both sides condemned China's illegal, coercive, aggressive, and deceptive activities in the South China Sea, recognizing their adverse effects on regional peace and stability and the economies of the Indo-Pacific and beyond. The Typhoon missile system the U.S. Army deployed to northern Philippine region of Luzon in April of 2024, and an anti-missile launcher called the Navy Marine Expeditionary Ship Interdiction System that was deployed in April last year, also Luzon, have remained in the Philippines. Well. The Chi-Coms, are you taking note? Are you taking note? Shockingly, the United Kingdom's corrupt Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, says go faster on defense spending. Wow, the leftists want to spend more money in defense. The world is truly upside down. The Prime Minister's comments follows calls by UK and German defense chiefs for the public to back an increase in military spending. Prime Minister Keir Starmer said February 16th the UK must step up its defense and security to deter the threat of Russian aggression. That means on defense spending we need to go faster. Well, how about you stop subsidizing the colonization of your country and kick all these illegal aliens out of the country? They're costing you billions of dollars. Then you can spend that on defense. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez went to Munich to try to look like a statesperson. She looked more like a moron who didn't finish high school. AOC's panel appearances panned as she struggles to adapt a message to a world stage. This idiot went to Munich. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's effort to bolster her foreign policy credentials on the international stage backfired, with criticism coming from both sides of the aisle. Ms. Ocasio-Cortez, New York demon rat, spoke on two panels at the Munich Security Conference, one about the rise of populism and another about the seismic shifts in U.S. foreign policy. While she slammed the Trump administration, accusing the president of authoritarianism that puts the world at risk, her comments on foreign policy were mocked and criticized. Political analyst Mark Halperin said on his Two-Way Tonight podcast that giving AOC a slot may go down history as one of the bigger mistakes she's ever made if she wants to be president. He referenced a New York Times article that said Ms. Ocasio-Cortez brought a working-class vision in Munich with some stumbles. It takes a major screw-up for the New York Times to put in their story about AOC that she, I think they said, was a stumble. It had to be a really bad stumble. When asked at the conference about whether the U.S. should send troops to defend Taiwan, she couldn't get an answer out. I think that this is such, I think it's, this is, of course, a very long-standing policy in the United States. One of her biggest fumbles was referring to Venezuela as below the equator when hitting Trump administration for arresting Nicolas Maduro. It's not a remark on who Maduro was as leader. He canceled elections. He was an anti-democratic leader. That doesn't mean that we can kidnap a head of state and engage in acts of war just because the nation is below the equator. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. The Washington Times reached out to Ms. Ocasio-Cortez for comment on this story. Yeah, she is a fool, and she exposed herself. That's the thing about idiot leftists. Just give them time. They expose who they truly are. Meanwhile, UK and German defense chiefs, I already mentioned Starmer, calling for public support to rearm to deter Russia. Wow. Look at that. Germans in the German military. It's shocking. There's one African back there. But he looks like he's an American. Not Defense chiefs from UK and Germany calling for the public to back and increase defense spending to deter a possible war with Russia. There's no war with Russia. These people keep trying to create a war with Russia. They keep trying to create a war with Russia. Strength deters aggression. Weakness invites it. Really? Isn't that what Donald Trump has been saying since 2016? And you buffoons in the NATO alliance pretend that Donald Trump's trying to end NATO. He's trying to get you tight asses to spend money. Trump's Board of Peace is hosting its inaugural meeting of member states. They pledged more than $5 billion towards Gaza's humanitarian reconstruction efforts, including committing thousands to personnel for security. President Trump's Board of Peace will meet officially tomorrow bringing together more than 24 nations from around the world. The Board of Peace. He appointed 7 people to serve as the group's executive board: Secretary of State Marco Rubio, U.S. Deputy National Security Advisor Robert Gabriel, U.S. Envoy Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, former British Prime Minister Tony Blair, Private Equity Executive Mark Rowan, and World Bank Group President Ajay Banga. And their goal is to rebuild Gaza. Argentina, Albania, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Bahrain, Belarus, Bulgaria, Cambodia, Egypt, El Salvador, Hungary, Indonesia, Israel, Jordan, Kazakhstan, Kuwait, Kosovo, Morocco, Mongolia, Pakistan, Paraguay, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, United Arab Emirates, Uzbekistan, Vietnam, and the United States are members of the board. You'll notice the Europeans have sat out except for Hungary because they're ass wipes. Yep, they are turd balls, so they don't want to be part of this. They'd rather be part of the failed United Nations. Many countries, including U.S. allies and major world powers, have declined to join the board. France, Germany, Greece, Italy, Norway, Slovenia, Sweden, the United Kingdom, and Ukraine. China, Croatia, Cyprus, India, and EU's executive arm, Russia, and Singapore have yet to respond. New Zealand declined the offer, citing the need for clarity on how the initiative will coexist with the United Nations. Croatia, Ireland, Poland, Slovakia, and Spain have indicated they will not join the board. Well, Ireland and Spain are enemies of Western civilization, so who wants them on the board? Peru's Congress has removed the interim president, Jerry, as he faces a corruption probe. Peru's Congress on Tuesday voted to remove interim president Jose Jerry from office as he faces corruption allegations, triggering a fresh wave of political instability just weeks before the nation's April presidential and congressional elections. With 75 votes in favor, 24 against, and 3 abstentions, they removed him from position he assumed on October 10th, when his predecessor was dismissed as a crime wave gripped the country. Well, Peru, been a mess ever since the Spanish destroyed the Inca Empire. Well, Mamdani is threatening, arrogant, asshat, socialist, Islamist, fascist, threatening people with a 9.5% tax increase. If the state won't tax the wealthiest New Yorkers, he'd have a tax the middle class. Look at that. Look at that. But that's not possible, you dumbass, because that is not equal protection under the Constitution. New York City Zoran the Moran mayor says that the state won't play ball on mixing tax and rich. He'll have to impose a higher tax on his own. At a Tuesday press conference, he held 2 options to address what he said the city's $5.8 billion budget deficit left by the prior administration. No, this is to give people free housing at the expense of everyone else. That's what this is all about. In an effort to balance his preliminary $127 billion budget, Mamdani outlined 2 potential paths. Rely on the cooperation of New York Governor Kathy Hochul, increasing taxes on the wealthy and corporations, or he'll raise taxes by 9.5%, property taxes. He told the public that it's going to hit middle class the worst. I mean, he doesn't care. New York's property tax system since from the 1970s trying to balance the needs of outer borough homeowners with commercial multifamily housing in Manhattan. As a result, property tax on single-family homes are much lower than rates on multifamily units. Yeah, and here's the thing. Multifamily units are rent-controlled, many of them, which means they can't raise their prices, which means that the doubling of the cost of heaters and air conditioning units and plumbing and door fixtures and knobs and locks, which has doubled under Biden's corrupt regime, inflation doubling everything, the landlords can't afford to maintain buildings. And then you're trying to confiscate their buildings on top of it because they can't maintain it because you control how much they actually get to make. Aha! More Epstein files and more demon rats exposed. Yes, folks. Top demon rat fundraisers sought Jeffrey Epstein's support despite child sex offender conviction. Looky here. Jeffrey Epstein was registered as a high-risk sex offender, but it didn't matter to the fundraisers working for demon rats Charles Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, who sent VIP dinner invites and sought private meetings with a billionaire for their quest for control of Congress. Justice Department's latest release of its long-hidden Epstein files shows fundraisers, long hidden during the Biden regime, shows fundraisers for lawmakers in Congress. Most of them Democrats didn't hesitate to solicit Epstein's company at exclusive fundraisers or to invite him to private meetings as recently as 2017. They pursued his money and sought his favor for nearly a decade while he was a registered sex offender. The outreach continued even as lawsuits revealed Epstein's offenses were much worse and his underage victims far more numerous than his plea deal indicated. A Schumer Senate candidate reception dated September 18, 2012, asked Epstein to attend the reception for then Representative Martin Heinrich, a Democrat who was running for an open seat in New Mexico. At the time, Chucky Schumer was head of the Senate Democratic Caucus. Wow. Heinrich has done everything from lead whitewater raft tours to build his own electric car. He's an engineer and would be one of the few people in the Senate with a science background. New Mexico's a key state for Obama, Rieger wrote to Epstein. A 2009 lawsuit accused Epstein of luring a 16-year-old into his home and sexually assaulting her, then paying her $200. By the early 2000s, Epstein became a major political donor, primarily to demon rats. According to Open Secrets, from 1989 to 2003, he gave $139,000 to demon rats running for federal office and $18,000 Republican candidates. Among demon rats to rake in money for Epstein was Hillary Clinton, whose joint fundraising campaign accepted a $20,000 donation during a 1999 campaign for New York's open Senate seat. Wow. Wow, where is all the outrage, all the screaming at Trump? Oh, the Epstein files. We are seeing exactly who are in the Epstein files. Democrats. Norwegian Prime Minister. Pritzker. All leftists, all Democrats. Oh, y'all wanted the Epstein files. You got them now. You got them now. All these names come flooding out. You had to have the Epstein files. Oh, Trump's covering it up. Trump's covering it up. Why would Trump cover up all this opportunity to relish the destruction of the political left? Because of their affiliation with a pervert. Yeah. Yeah. What do you mean that's why they held on to it? That's why the Democrats held on to it. Trump didn't hold on to it. They're all being caught, exposed. The Norwegian Prime Minister, the Duchess of York, the former Duchess of York, sleazeball. Oh, I love you, Jeffrey. Will you marry me? Are you serious? These people are mentally deranged. The only reasonable people is the bald-headed one, the older brother, and his wife and their family. Thank you, Miss V, for your membership. Wow. The demon rats are being exposed every day. More and more of the Epstein files, more names get dug out of this. Millions of pages. Oh, Trump's hiding it. Trump's hiding it. Bull. Poppycock. Balderdash. I've said that all along. I had people quit watching my program because I'm saying, what's your obsession with the files? Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. Yes, I am tired of the Epstein happenings. That's right, Holden. Because I told you, it's all BS. Now that the truth is coming out, they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about it. It's not frontline news. None of y'all screaming, oh, Epstein, 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 Epstein. Now that we see who's really behind it, no one wants to talk about it. Yeah, there will be no prosecution. That's the point. It's a show. It's always been a show. The best hope that can be done is the victims can sue the estate for financial compensation. That's the best they can hope for. He's dead. She's in prison. None of these people are going to be prosecuted. Michaela Schifrin exercised the ghost of her Olympic past. After a couple of disappointing races, Michaela Schifrin was down to one event on Wednesday in her bid to end her poor Olympic stretch. Luckily for her, it was her best event, the slalom. She's won 9 World Cup titles, 4 World Championships, and an Olympic gold medal back in 2014, and now she comes back a dozen years later. She delivered to win the gold medal. Starting 7th on her first run, she had a quick hesitation early on, but righted herself and put up the best time on a short, flattish course by a big margin of 0.8 of a second. That lead held up through a crowded field of 95 skiers. Wow. That's a lot of skiers. I had a little bit of butterflies, to be sure, but I felt prepared to take on the nervousness. The gold medal was hers for the taking on the second run, and she grabbed it, clocking the second fastest time to easily win gold by a wide margin over Camille Rost of Switzerland. Along with her 2014 slalom gold medal, Schifrin won a giant slalom gold in 2018, but did not medal in any event in 2022 despite being a heavy favorite. At these games, she had surrendered the lead in the team combined to finish 4th and was just 11th in the giant slalom. This despite leading the overall World Cup this season and winning more World Cup races in her career than any alpine skier has ever done. So congratulations, Michaela Schifrin. President Trump has announced 3 projects backed by investment under U.S.-Japan trade deal. $36 billion to fund critical mineral, energy, and oil projects in Georgia, Ohio, and Texas. President Trump announced these projects. Our massive trade deal with Japan has just launched. Japan is now officially and financially moving forward with the first set of investments under its $550 billion commitment to invest in the United States, part of a historic trade deal to revitalize the American industrial base and create hundreds of thousands of great American jobs. First phase agreement includes a natural gas power facility in Ohio capable of generating 9.2 gigawatts of electricity. We will strengthen grid reliability, expand power-based load, and support American manufacturing with affordable energy. Another project will develop a facility to export approximately $20 billion to $30 billion worth of crude oil annually from deep waters in the Gulf of America near Texas. A new synthetic diamond manufacturing facility destined for Georgia will produce industrial grit, supplying enough of the critical material to satisfy U.S. demand. This is crazy. The future has never been brighter. America is building again. America is producing again. America is winning again. All I ever do is win, 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 no matter what. And my hands go up, and they stay there, and they stay there. Win, win, win. All right, Erica, take care. Pete Hegseth had reportedly pushed out the public affairs chief who once worked for General Woke Milley. A career Army public affairs officer had been in line to become a general will instead retire amid reports that Secretary of Defense Hegseth wanted him gone. Colonel Dave Butler had been serving as Army Chief of Public Affairs and was top advisor to Secretary of Army Driscoll when he was ousted. It's the latest in a string of high-profile firings in the Pentagon. After 28 years of dedicated service, Colonel Dave Butler is immediately transitioning from his position as Chief of Army Public Affairs to retire. The Army did not elaborate on the nature of his abrupt departure. Driscoll's reporting in Geneva, where he's participating in high-stakes U.S. broker talks. Colonel Butler did not respond to questions from Washington Times about his immediate retirement. He was head of public affairs for Joint Chiefs of Staff during General Milley's tenure as chairman. That name was first added to the promotional list of potential brigadier generals. Other senior military leaders who were fired or forced into retirement after Hegseth came into office last year include Charles Brown, who replaced Milley's chairman of Joint Staff, and Lisa Franchetti, chief of naval operations, as well as General David Alvin, the Air Force chief of staff. Yep, the wokers are gone. Republicans bracing for losses, push for voter restrictions in Congress, which is funny because it's the Democrats who are doing it. New York Times, once again, telling fairy tales. Strict voter identification measure Republicans have pushed through the House is just opening salvo in a broader effort aimed at keeping control of Congress this fall. No, it's an effort to save America from criminal alien invaders who undermine our elections. That's what it's all about. Tell the truth. The Reverend Jesse Jackson has passed away at the age of 84. The leader of the Rainbow Push Coalition and the man who latched on to Dr. Martin Luther King and claimed his civil rights credentials because he was there around King. He was just a little boy chasing King around. Jesse Jackson, leading figure for civil rights, dies at 84. The former aide to Martin Luther King launched 2 historic presidential campaigns while spreading a message of hope and resilience. No, he didn't. He spread a message of hate and revenge. The Reverend Jesse Jackson, a charismatic preacher who became the leading voice of black American aspirations years after the assassination of King, was the first African-American to gain significant traction as presidential candidate. He didn't. He went nowhere. Nobody voted for him. His family announced the death in a statement which did not say where or how he died. He had been diagnosed with Parkinson's 10 years ago. Years later, he learned he had a progressive supranuclear palsy, a neurological disorder that affects movement. Here he is in 1984 when he sought the Democratic presidential nomination and didn't get it. There he is in 97. It's not black pride to burn down a black man's store. After a while, the anger subsided. I saw it in my own eyes. I really did preach the violence out of these people. He amassed more than 3 million votes during the primaries and took 384 delegates with him to the Democratic National Convention out of thousands of delegates. Finished third behind Mondale and Gary Hart. Here he is in 2008 crying because Barack Obama got elected, and he didn't. There he is back in 1969, Indianapolis. The Reverend Jesse Jackson, Jr. Jesse Lewis Burns was born in Greenville. Where did the Jackson come from? 2 years after giving birth, his mother married Charles Jackson, a postal worker who adopted him. That's where he got the name Jackson from. There he is with Dr. King in 1966. Dr. King's got the newspaper upside down. It's unfortunate. Here he is the day before King was assassinated with Hosea Williams and the Reverend Ralph Abernathy. There he is in 1971 when he was arrested at a sit-in. 2019, walking with Cory Booker in Selma, Alabama. (1996). Here he is hanging out with Fidel Castro. He famously stuck his nose into U.S. foreign policy to get a pilot released from Syria back in the day. But his Rainbow Push Coalition is what he's known for as well. 1996 with his son. Capitol Heights, Maryland, 2007. What a long tribute to Jesse Jackson Jr. There he is. Not Junior, Jesse Jackson, excuse me. He was born to an unwedded teenage mother in the poorest section of his hometown in the segregated South. By the time he first ran for president at 42, had achieved a level of distinction that eludes most people in public life. He was known simply by his first name. He was Jesse. He was somebody. Well, there you go. You're known by the company you keep. The Reverend Jesse Jackson Jr. I keep saying Jr. Reverend Justin Jackson, dead at 84. This follows on the heel. Just 320 likes. What's going on there, folks? Hit that like button. What is it going to cost you? A moment of your time?
That was easy.
Yeah, come on, hit that like button. You are known by the company you keep for certain there. Yep. Jesse Jackson with Fidel Castro and with other tyrants around the world. He was a self-aggrandizing individual who seemed to be in it for himself, although he claimed it was for everyone else. Fathering children out of wedlock, using his money for Rainbow Push coalition illegally. Yep. And we lost in 95, just before that, Robert Duvall on Sunday. That's the news for today. Any news, Brent Brazil? No, it's not being talked about. It's only on Twitter that was mentioned. Starting salary for new intakes, standard 8, 16,000, matric at 19,000. No idea what you're talking about. Yep, he did nothing about the ANC. Correct, Jules. Trevor Noah, who cares about Trevor Noah? Who's paying attention to him? He's going to be sued by Trump. Sorry, Scuban, welcome to you. What is the problem with people to go on about Epstein? It's old news. No, see, now everybody's saying it's old news when the Democrats are being exposed. But when the files were hidden by the Biden administration, they said nothing. When Trump came in office, within 3 days, people are squawking, where are the files? He's covering up. Trump has released these files, his administration, 6 times, including 3 million pages in the most recent release. Now nobody wants to talk about it because all the Democrats are being exposed. Isn't it ironic? Sad part of these great U.S. athletes badmouth the U.S. I've never seen a Republican do that. Yeah, when Otto Penn was in office. Yep, that's right. No, well, the upshot is it's good to see that the darling of the left failed miserably. The figure skaters failed miserably yesterday. Yeah, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Our figure skater, she choked. The LGBTQ figure skater yesterday choked. She finished 13th, was it? I think it was. Schedule results. Let me look at the results from yesterday. Come on, yesterday. Come on, why is this not opening? Good Lord. Okay, there we go. Yesterday. Now let me find this skating. Figure skating. There it is right there. Completed first. Okay, Nakai from Japan, 17-year-old, was brilliant. She came in first. Sakamoto came in second. Alicia Liu, who's coming back to sport, finished third. Levito was lovely, but she only finished 8th. I thought she got cheated. She should have finished better than that. But the great hope, Amber Glenn, 13th with just 67 points. Amber Glenn is out of the medal running. Shouldn't have a chance. I don't think Levito has much of a chance. He's too many points behind. But unless these others stumble in front of her. But Amber Glenn, the one who said vile things about the United States and preached her LGBT supremacy nonsense, yeah, she choked. Choke. Yep, she came in 13th. Yep, not surprised. You know, go woke, go broke. Stupid stuff. Yeah, it's old news. We know he's in South Africa. One man attacking U.S. Capitol stopped by police. I didn't cover it. Trump, in abundance of caution, taken safe this afternoon. Man with a rifle and shotgun arrested. I did not cover that story. No. I heard about it, but I did not cover it because there was no reporting on it when I first heard about it. Man arrested running towards U.S. Capitol building, not towards the White House. That's from yesterday. Man arrested running toward Capitol building with loaded shotgun. U.S. Capitol Police arrested an 18-year-old man Tuesday after he ran from his vehicle towards the west side of the Capitol building with a shotgun. Capitol Police Chief Michael Sullivan said the unidentified man parked a Mercedes near the Capitol, got out and ran several hundred yards toward the building before officers intercepted and ordered him to the ground. Speaking in a press conference after the arrest, Sullivan said the gunman was wearing a tactical vest, gloves, and had a Kevlar helmet and gas mask in his vehicle. Shotgun was loaded and he had additional rounds on him. Who knows what would have happened if we wouldn't have had officers standing here. He was not known to authorities and described him as not being from the area. The vehicle was not registered to the suspect, who had multiple addresses. Well, no idea what's going on there. No idea what's going on there. Melania Trump will donate her 2025 inaugural gown to the Smithsonian. That's pretty cool. 9 still missing after rescuers pushed through California winter storm to find 6 avalanche survivors. 6 backcountryers rescued alive, 10 missing after California avalanche. Wow. 9 still missing. That's crazy. Big avalanche. Crews pushed through mountainous wilderness near Lake Tahoe during a snowstorm to rescue 6 backcountry skiers who survived an avalanche but were trapped by its snow and ice. 9 others from a tour group remain missing. 2 of the 6 were taken to hospital for treatment. Search and rescue crews were dispatched to Frog Lake in the Castle Peak area northwest of Lake Tahoe after a 911 call reporting an avalanche and people buried. Extreme conditions slowed the rescue effort. Several hours to reach the skiers and take them to safety. Skiers were on the last day of a 3-day backcountry skiing trek. Skiers spent 2 nights at huts on a trip that required navigating rugged mountainous terrain for up to 4 miles while bringing along all food and supplies. The authorities were notified by the avalanche by a ski tour company that led the expedition, Blackbird Mountain Guides, and by emergency beacons the skiers were carrying. Rescuers made their way cautiously towards the scene of the avalanche because of the danger of more avalanches. Wow. Castle Peak, 9,110 feet high, 2,777-meter mountain north of Donner Summit, is a popular backcountry skiing destination. The summit, which can be perilous in snow, is named for the infamous Donner Party, which resorted to cannibalism after getting trapped there in the winter of 1846-47. In January, an avalanche in the region buried a snowmobiler in snow and killed him. Each winter, 25-30 people die in avalanches in the U.S. Training in avalanche assessment, rescue, safety equipment is highly recommended for backcountry skiing. And as I said, Michaela Schifrin won herself a medal. 8-year Olympic drought. Congratulations. Her turbulent 12-year Olympic journey came full circle when she won the slalom by a massive 1.5 seconds to break her long medal drought at the Winter Games. Congratulations. She's won 3 golds and a silver at the Olympics to add to her record total in World Cup wins. It's 108 and counting, including 71 in the slalom, which is her main event, which she's really impressive at. Yeah, congratulations. You probably okay. Saw a guy getting hit in the wickets of the gate. Ouch, that hurts. Mendelssohn. I don't know why he's being ignored, Jules. What crime has happened in 2016 are you talking about there, Holden? Does this mean that Republicans use them against the Democrats? Well, that's a dangerous, slippery slope. I don't know if they'll do it. Hey, Theo. Italy is actively moving to close clandestine or unregistered mosque and prayer services. Good. Good. Ramaphosa will have the Ukraine and Russia war sorted out within 1 year, and his expertise, he'll set up a board of inquiry through corruption. Yeah, well, Trump said he could get it done on day 1. I didn't criticize him for that, but now we're a year into it, and he hasn't solved it, which I said he wouldn't solve. The Russians have no desire to end this war. Yep. Yeah, AOC did make a fool of herself. It's a wonder the colors in Indians are not equally black, too, considering that they have Asian history as far as Philippines and perhaps further. Not the Philippines. It's Indonesia, Malaysia. What else we got here? Just another girls here. Muted. I'm not muted. That was a long time ago. Okay. Problem is not just ANC is getting away with racism, but the world allows it. Exactly. I'm with you, MK and Tears. Exactly right. That's exactly the problem. That is exactly the problem. The world looks the other way. Oh, the election. What was wrong with the 2016 election, Holden? Are you serious? What, are you in the Hillary camp? Are you talking about Macedonian server farms? That's what you want to talk about? Do I think that Russia will interfere with the local election? South Africa's election? They're not going to have any impact. The Russians are not that sophisticated, despite the lies of the Democrats. John Travolta's 72. Wow. Good Lord. Sammy Whammy. Welcome to you. All right, guys. So last night I went into the ticketing system for the Rugby World Cup, and it's very complicated. And I got twice during the 4 hours I had to wait. I had to wait 4 hours from 8 o'clock until midnight. I got in. I had a plan. I went through one of the games. The games that were listed in the original schedule, the dates don't match when the games actually are, so they must have made a mistake because I copied the text verbatim, and they changed the dates of some of these games. They don't start on the 1st of October, 2nd. So that affected my plan, which meant that the Fiji versus Spain game that I was going to get fell off the table because it's not on the day they said it was on, so by pushing it. So I thought I was going to have a game the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, but it's the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So I lost the game. But I made up for that game by buying the round of 16, which is in Perth. And that should be the winner of Pool B, which should be South Africa, which plays its last pool stage game in Perth the week before. So I picked that one. So that got me 9 tickets. Then I got to looking and I said, you know what, that's not even the full time I usually go for. So I don't usually stay for the knockout stages, but let me look and see. So I went back in and I tried to get the knockout stages, but I went back and tell people I was successful for a second stream last night and after midnight, and I got in and I wasn't going to stay, but then I went very fast. But then it got to the end, I had to wait like an hour to go that last 2 or 3%. I don't know what was going on there. Finally got in, and I went to buy a ticket. I got a ticket from Melbourne, but it was also the group of 16, so that's kind of like the playoff. So Perth and then Melbourne. I didn't have any games in Melbourne, so that adds Melbourne. It gives me 5 of the 7 venues, the towns. And then I was going to add the quarterfinal in Sydney the next day or the next week, but I can't. Because all the tickets that cost less than $600 were gone for every quarterfinal game, no matter where they were, every ticket. So I'll have to play that by ear and see if people put tickets back in and sell them. So I'll keep playing that by ear. But right now, I don't have one of those tickets. So right now I have 10 tickets. 10 tickets. I sent you the mail, asked about live on Sunday. Okay. Yeah, Olivia Newton-John has passed away, though. No, they look the other way because they're woke, virtual Western Cape. They don't believe that they think only white people are racist, that only white people are evil, that only white people have ever done anything wrong in this world. They ignore the history of the world. Black Africans enslaved people for millennia before any Europeans showed up there, before any Arabs showed up there. And then for 1,300 years, they sold black Africans into slavery into North Africa and the Middle East and into the Arabian Peninsula from East Africa for 1,300 years. Yep. Morality and human rights always take a backseat to profits. I don't think it's always true. Helen Zilla said, where did you see that at, Jules? I didn't see that. I saw the News 24 blaming them. How can Helen Zilla blame the Russians for losses in local elections when the local elections took place in 2021? Whose health is improving? James Duvall. I didn't care for Pulp Fiction. I thought it was lame. I'm in a minority there. We're up to 390 likes now. 406. Getting closer. Better. Who can sit up? Who are we talking about? Oh, it's John Travolta's birthday. That's why you guys are talking about him. Oh, Michael Schumacher. Yeah, I heard about it. Well, they've been keeping very closely guarded with him. Yeah, he's apparently been improving for some time. They've kept it quiet. The Earth won't have any gravity in August. What is that story? Michael Schumacher, yeah. Oh, by-elections. Thank you, Arnie. That wasn't clear. As someone said, local elections. Local elections are municipal elections to me. By-elections are different. They are local, but they're different. Yep. Comes slavery history of the truth is rather inconvenient to some. It's very inconvenient to some. They don't want to talk about the truth. They can't handle the truth. Can we discuss? Why do you want to discuss that? You come up with some really odd things to talk about there, Holden. What do you want to talk about? Yep. Anyway, now I'll take the questions about refugees. Someone wanted to ask questions about refugees earlier. I'll take those questions now. So where are your questions? How many hamsters allowed to pack? Well, I don't know. You're going to have to ask Matthew Dixon. He's all over that. Sorry. Wait a second. Yeah, 6 hours. So wait, after 8. 12, 1 o'clock, and 7. It's 8 o'clock here. Sorry, folks. Documentary Estonian Son of Stone. Well, thank you, Gert. I did my own documentary. Senna was something else. Okay, what's that? Let me check on something real quick here. All right, folks. All right, so Mad Max. I'm just checking on him. Is that a 747 he's looking at? Yeah, it's a 747. Common for people landing us to be unclear of the final. No, it's not. Who doesn't know the destination? Of course, people know the destination when they come to the United States. Yeah, that has happened, Greybeard, because these agencies are not playing nice. Several of them are trying to play games. You can ask news questions during refugee chat. Haha, funny, Alan. That's good. How long have you and Carol been married? Who the hell is Carol, Bonafide? Who the hell is Carol? I don't know anybody named Carol. What are you talking about? Who the hell is Carol? The only Carol I know is Carol Burnett. Oh, Ayrton Senna has crashed. Okay. Jody Schechter was my favorite. No idea who that is. You guys, I know who that's. DA is using ANC tax just like they always blame apartheid affairs. They will use Russia for negative. Yeah, probably. Yeah, Greybeard, it's not the norm, but it can happen that it changes. What's my take on the new ambassador? Well, he'll do what he's supposed to, work for the President of the United States and represent the President's foreign policy. And that means that on occasion he'll speak out about South Africa. And the South African government can ignore him. It's their choice. It's their choice. Were you able to went through your email? No. Am I able to go through? No, Lawrence, I haven't gone through my email. Nope. Last night was tied up for 7 hours with the Rugby World Cup ticketing and 2 broadcasts. So no time. And today I won't be able to. I've been asked to do an interview. I've just written back to the journalist. I've also got to meet a South African who's coming in today to the area. And I've got Ronaldo here in a few minutes, assuming he's still up for it. I don't follow Formula One, Charles. I wouldn't know who that was. I don't have permission to show the photo. Well, I can't show this photo because there's nobody in it. What was that question? I mean, where does that come from? That was an odd question. And who is Bonafide LLB? Sounds like trolling to me. I could probably show that picture. But I mean, that's not really going to tell you anything other than you can see that somebody's in Frankfurt. Of course, not necessarily Frankfurt, but I can tell you it's Frankfurt. Just looking at it. Yep. All right, so let me open that up. There you go. That's 747 right there. Star Alliance, Lufthansa in Frankfurt. Yep. Look at that. That's the civilian terminal, and there's the runway on the other side. Used to be the military terminal at Rhein Main Air Base. Yes, Cape Town has a consulate, not an embassy. Who said, no, the embassy is not going to move to Cape Town. No, why would the embassy move to Cape Town? Not going to happen. It stays in Pretoria. That's the national capital. That's where we keep the embassy. Where you at, Bonafide? You ask a question, and I don't know what you're talking about. Who the hell is... Who? Carol Burnett was great in her day. She was funny. Yeah. We have an embassy in Pretoria and Hatfield. We have a consulate in Durban, a consulate in Joburg, in Sandton, and a consulate in Cape Town. 3 consulates and an embassy in South Africa. Yep. Big country. Yep, 747-8 series. Yeah, I love 747s. Fantastic aircraft. Vander Smuts, good morning to you. Love the Carol Burnett Show. I'm so glad we had this time together. Just to share a laugh or two. Wow. As far as I know, I'm going on with Ronaldo. Why is it not listed? Let me see. Ronaldo. Hus. Okay. Link. Okay. Remind him to send it. Is he not listed? Let's go. Let's see if it's listed there. Does he not have the show listed? No. It's there. 12 p.m. He just hasn't sent me the link yet. He sends me a link, I'll wrap up here. All right. Oh my goodness. Wow. Who did this? Oh, Professor G. Boy, Professor G is really working the controversial angles here. Really is. Who is this? Somebody's telling me that my content is not available. Huh. No wonder South Africans aren't finding it. Someone's geo-blocking my content. Now, I don't know if this is true because this corresponds with me being blocked out of X, but yeah, so let me see this. You had a choice anywhere in the U.S. you wanted. What? I didn't decide on Pennsylvania, G9. Obviously, you're not following my history here. I didn't ask to come to Pennsylvania. I was sent here by the Army in my last assignment. And since there's no housing that was suitable on the base that I was willing to live in, I had to buy a house. I don't rent at my age. So I bought a house, and then I intended to leave here. But I was going to go live in Bavaria or in New Zealand. And then COVID struck just a few months after I retired. And I couldn't go overseas. So I was going to, yep. So let me see if so somebody sent me this. So someone put this on Twitter. I guess they're trying to show my stuff. Colonel Wyatt gives some honest feedback about some of the dodgy resettlement agencies who are meant to be helping all South Africans. It's not just all refugees, not just the South Africans. Sounds a bit like a Somali daycare layering situation with a tiny handful of them, methinks. And content not available. Look at that. He put a link to my video and it's not available. I don't know if they put the wrong link there, but my content is available. So am I being shadow banned? That might be because last night YouTube wasn't working. I don't know. So you guys tell me. Let me give you a link and see if you guys can find this. Okay. So here's the link to this video. Just try to open up another tab if you're not on the phone. If you're not on the phone. For the half of you who are on a PC or a laptop, check that link out right now and see if the link works. It may be because YouTube and the internet was all messed up last night. So just check that link out. Just give me feedback on that. Did the link work for you or not? If you're on a phone, you won't be able to do that. So watching Stay Nation, these people are all disgusting. I think so. Yeah, Greco man, they are disgusting. Loretta missed most of the stream. Well, it works. It works. Okay, that's good. I think it link works. Yep. I think it was just there was problems. YouTube was all screwed up, and so were Gmail and a bunch of other things yesterday. Okay, cool, good. All right, but did any of you get notified? The show was not set on live. What are you talking about? Was not set on live? Of course it's set on live. You weren't. It wasn't telling you it was live. Let me see. Let me go to my channel and see what happens when I go to my channel. Oh, oh no, it's live. It's live. See, here it is on my screen. See the red on live? Chris Wyatt reports live. It's there. Luckily for us, you are where we need you to be, Colonel, says Andreas. Okay. Okay. Jesus, now you should stay. What does that mean, Hester? Stay in USA. Yeah, Google services everywhere in the world were a problem yesterday, so that may be what it was. So before I panic and say that I'm geo-blocked, I don't think I'm geo-blocked. I just think there were problems across the board. Thank you guys for checking that. It looks like everybody can get to the link. Will you be able to get your X account back? I don't know, just another girl. They told me to wait a week. I've waited almost 2 weeks. I'll write back to them. But there's nothing going on with my X account. No one's doing anything with it because I blocked that. So I'm waiting to hear back. Someone who claimed that they had contacted Elon Musk was promising to help me, but they went quiet. So lots of people make lots of promises and never come true. Yep. All right. Did Ronaldo send me a link? There it is. Okay, I'm going to drop off here, folks. We're going to wrap it up here, and I'll be on with Ronaldo in just a few minutes. Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit the like button if you don't mind, and we'll see you over that side. Thank you for the super chat. It just came up. What did I miss? It was 50 Rand. Okay, I already read that one. Thank you all so much. All right, see you shortly on Ronaldo's channel. Oh, I need to redirect everybody there. Hang on, silly boy. Silly boy. Let me redirect everybody there. Customization. I hadn't done that yet. Strange how I got so busy with that story I was working on. Okay. There we go. All right, now we'll be redirected there. I'll see you over in Ronaldo here in just a minute, okay? Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Cheers.